Hey, friend, welcome back to another episode of the Ready to Rise podcast. I'm going to talk with you about something so freaking important today about just life and like happiness. And it might seem a tiny bit morbid at first, and I'm sorry for that, but this is so important. I recently had a patient, actually, this wasn't really that recent. I don't know, maybe it was a couple of years ago. But, if you didn't know, I am a registered nurse. I work here in California and I float. So I do everything. I go to all the different units. I worked in ICU for a little while. I left because that was pretty dang morbid, among other reasons. But now I'm back to floating all over the hospital and I freaking love it. And so that means I take care of a variety of patients. I do a variety of different kind of work. And a couple of years ago, I had a patient who was, he was kind of doing the hospice thing. He was getting ready to pass, and it was very much expected, and it was okay. It was actually very beautiful. He was almost 101 years old, so he really lived a full life. And we were talking, and he, out of nowhere, he asks me, "How many days have I been alive?" And I thought, what? I've never been asked that question before. People do love to talk about, their life and what they've gone through and how beautiful it was, and especially about the legacy that they're leaving behind, and their kids and what their kids and grandkids are doing. People love to talk about those things when they're, getting closer to passing. But I've never had somebody ask me specifically, how many days have I been alive? So of course I calculated it, and I really calculated it for him. I mean, I took his birth date, I did the whole entire thing, and I figured it out, and it was about 30, a little over 36,000 days. And I thought, that's huge. That's so cool. That's amazing. It seemed so big at first when I was first calculating this number. And then I got to thinking about it, and I was like, hold on. That's really not that much. I'm going to do it right now. So if we do, and this is so rough, it's not taking into account like leap years or anything, but if you live to be 100 years old, 100 times 365 is 36,500. When I first thought about that, I was just like, that's huge. That's crazy. That's so cool. And like I said, it turned into me being like, wait a minute, if I quantify 36,000 of something, like $36,000 or 36,000, whatever, books, I don't know, just random something. At first it seems like a lot, and then you kind of start to sit with that and you're like, that's not huge. And it just really got me thinking about our life on Earth, like how much time we have here in this body on this planet, right? And just how are we using it? For me personally, it just kind of gave me this wake-up call where I was like, am I using it? Am I really living? For this gentleman, he was surrounded by family. His last days were beautiful. There were so many just lives that he had clearly impacted, and people who had great stories to tell about him. And he wasn't sitting there talking about the type of car he drove, the kind of house he owned, what step he got to on the ladder of his career, how many days he spent at work, how many late nights he spent pleasing his boss, by working late, whatever. He wasn't talking about any of that. What the stories were that were coming about were, moments with his family, with his loved ones, with people that he's impacted, just amazing like memories that people had of him. And I just remember thinking, like, that's what counts. As often as I see patients like this, it's sometimes it takes a little bit of extra communication for it to really impact. Because so often we get caught up in our day-to-day life where we're not having these thoughts all the time. We're not having these conversations with people. And for me, having that conversation with him where I literally just thought to myself, like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is such an eye-opening experience. So I started thinking about it in reverse. Like, if I could think, not for me, because I'm like maybe halfway, maybe a quarter of the way, whatever it is that I'm through with my life. I'm, in my mid-30s. Mid-30s. Well, I've never said that before. I'll be 35 in April, y'all. Anyways, but I was thinking about it like, I'm this far into my life. What does that mean for me? For me, it doesn't mean that I'm looking back on the days that I've had, but I want to look forward on the days that I get to have and think about how I'm going to be impacting and making impact in this world, making happiness for myself and my relationships and my loved ones. So I wanted to think about it like moving forward. So I have something for you guys to do. I want you to really do this with me in real time. Obviously, like if you're driving or something, I don't want you to be using your phone or doing anything like that. Maybe, I love to like screenshot the part that I'm at in an episode and then come back to it to re-listen. But you could just do that if you want to, if you can't like calculate this right now. But if you're in a place to get out your calculator and literally do this math real quick, we're gonna find out like the approximate days we have left. And I know that sounds a little like weird or like morbid or something like that, but I think it's really an interesting eye-opener. It's a practice that I did recently at an event that I was at. The host had us do this, and it was like so cool because it's been on my mind, right? And I just think it's important to like think about these things, not get caught up in this. We're not going to get future tripping and get so caught up in like what it looks like, or be putting us into like a worry state or anything like that, but putting us into an awareness state that like, let's freaking go. This is our life. Like this is our time to like enjoy our life. So this is a little bit, this part was very morbid to me. I thought our current lifespan was like way older, but the CDC in 2023 says that 81 years is as women, our current life expectancy. So you know what, for you, girl, you're probably living to 99, 110, whatever you want. You could do it that way, where you can take the first number that we're going to take is going to be like that age, that expected age. So whether it's the 81 years that the CDC says, or whether it's your like idea, that like I'm living to 101 years old. So we're going to take that expected, age, and then minus our current age. So for me, I'm currently 34, so I'm going to take that 81 years or that 101 years minus 34. And you take that number and you just multiply by 365. And that gives you your expected, our average, like our hopeful days here. So if I do it for myself, 81 minus 34 times 365, it's 17,155. And again, at first that feels like a lot. And then you have to remember, how often do we have days where we're just like, I'll do it Monday. I don't want to do anything. I don't know. I'll call that person tomorrow. I'll, do that thing tomorrow. I'll write that letter tomorrow, whatever it is. Like we so often have days. I'm not saying it's bad to have like a day that we chill, right? But I'm just saying, how often do we put off our own happiness thinking like, oh, I'll start that Monday. I'll do that this weekend. I'll get to it when I get to it. And then these days are turning into less and less days. The 17,000 is going to turn into 16, going to turn into 15. And eventually I will have been putting off my happiness for like thousands of days that I could have just started now, If you want to get technical with this, you can also do in that years remaining. So taking the bigger number minus the current age. Once you get that number, you can divide it by 4, and that's going to tell you how many leap days you get. So then that equals how many leap days, and you can add that to that overall time thing as well. And that's a few extra days for you. But really, I wanted to show you that because it's like, honestly, I want us to make this count. Like, we don't know how long we're going to be here, right? Like, again, it just seems so morbid, but like, it's so true. I lost a lot of family about 10 years ago. I lost a lot of family members during like a short period of time. One of which was my favorite aunt. Oh my God, just like one of my favorite family members. I was so close with her. I loved her so much. She passed at a young age. She passed really young. It was a very like a freak accident. It was kind of like an unforeseen issue. We didn't know. She had an allergy we didn't know about, and she didn't know about, and it caused a whole thing, and she passed very young. And I think about those kinds of things often. Like this woman, She lived her life. She was the life of every party. She was like the one you were like, I hope she's going to be there. Like, oh my gosh, she just was such a big light to everybody. She impacted so many lives. She was very involved in her church community and with her kids, and just such an amazing woman. And I think about that often. Like, she didn't get to be here for a long time, but she was here for a good time. She rocked it. And she is remembered. And I mean, it's years and years later. Of course, people are still talking about her all the time, and people are still remembering her all the time. And she enjoyed her life. And I think about these things so often, about enjoying our life, about being happy, about having the happiness and really creating a life that we love. I don't want you to come to this earth and spend your 36,000 days here on this earth in pursuit of happiness from pleasing everybody else or making everybody else happy first or caring more about what you look like on the outside rather than how you feel on the inside. The point of this life, in my opinion, is to come here and to enjoy it, to live fully in this body that we're given, right? To enjoy this life, to feel the sunshine on our face, to just get out and just enjoy it, to build those relationships, to make memories, to laugh, to cry. Like, that is what life is to me. It's about this happiness. It's about this excitement, right? I don't want you to feel how I did 7 years ago. I mean, I had this whole wake-up call where I was just like, hold on, I'm not happy. I had been pursuing everything to try to find this happiness, and really it was leaving me more and more lost. That's because I was looking for this happiness in all of the wrong places. I wasn't doing what actually lit me up or made me feel happy. And I just like want this to be such a big reminder to you. Like, come back to this calculation or this episode or just the thought process. Coming back to this and remembering life is really short. And it's about making it work for you. It's about making it happy for you. It's about lighting it up and just living a life that truly like sets your soul on fire, right? Living a life that truly feels so exciting. I want you to wake up and get out of bed in the morning, and I want you to be excited about the things that you have on your list for the day. I want you to be excited about your agenda. I want you to be excited about your schedule. I want you to be excited about all the appointments that you get to make, that the life that you get to live. And if it's not feeling like that right now, it's okay. Like, that's normal, right? Like, probably 99% of people are just kind of living on autopilot and just doing their thing. Like, that's not a real statistic. This is just like what I'm observing. Like, I feel like it's so easy to just live on autopilot and to just forget the thing that we're here for a short amount of time, and to forget that we want to follow what lights us up and do what makes us feel excited. It's really easy to forget that. But I want you to take some time to remember this. I want you to take some time to think about this and do what lights you up and do what feels really good for you. This is your one opportunity on this earth, in this body, all of those things, to enjoy this life. So make it freaking count. Next episode, I'm going to share with you one of the coolest tools that I've learned. It's kind of like a personal development tool. It's not hard. It's not like, anything crazy. But I'm going to share that with you because I think that has really kind of helped me spark my own happiness journey and my own excitement in life, and helped me to kind of be a little bit more aware of adding this happiness and excitement into my everyday life. So get ready and stay tuned for that next episode. And until then, just know I freaking love and adore you so, so much. I also just want to mention, if you haven't already seen this anywhere else, Rise Live is coming up, and this is our virtual summit. It's a 2-day virtual summit, March 1st and 2nd, and it's all about us going from the overwhelm, the chaos, being at the bottom of our to-do list, into the peace and the ease and just clarity overall in our life. I'm going to have over 10 plus women coming to speak who are experts in their fields on so many different topics like burnout, style, relationships, all of that, and come in and really just kind of help us get from the point that we're at to where we really want to go, that place that's going to kind of lift us up and excite us. I also will be having 2 different panels. One of them is kind of women breaking free. It's women in business who have really like I guess woken up is like the word I want to use, really learn to like use their voice and, share what's on their mind in terms of like personal branding, literally using their voice and podcasting, even just in social media appearance, all of that, and really learning how to break out of our shell and to like be that version of ourselves. And the second panel we're hosting is on day 2, and that's all about different healing tools. So we're going to talk a little bit in depth about like breath work, sound baths, that kind of thing, different healing tools so that we can really dig deep, heal, and grow. So I hope to see you guys there. If you don't already have your ticket, I will make sure that the link is in my show notes or it's all over my Instagram. So I hope to see you there, and I will talk to you soon.